Season 3 was the best season thus far for Rayllum, or the relationship between Rayla and Callum, but Season 4 has the potential to be significantly better. Thus far, the two of them have gone from being enemies, to being friendly but awkward, to being close friends, to being romantic partners. I did not expect that the two of them would get together until the end of the series, as that is the typical process for relationships in these kinds of shows, as Avatar: The Last Airbender, among others, reveals, but I am glad it did happen this early. It means their relationship has time to grow and develop. The show does not have to play the will they or won't they card for 7 seasons. Instead, we can watch their feelings for each other grow and develop. Thus, I cannot wait to see where the show takes their relationship in Season 4. There are so many fascinating possibilities. Rayllum is not the only reason why I am excited for Season 4. That is certainly true, considering that the last season ended on a euphoric high, with only hints of darkness and foreboding. It makes sense to assume that the next season is going to be significantly darker, and I am fascinated to see how they square that darkness with the consistently optimistic overall tone of the show. But as a romantic, I really am excited to see what the show does with Rayllum. She's an elf, he's a human. They're set amidst a world in which elves and humans despise each other, but are trying to learn to live together. If the folks who write The Dragon Prince cannot make an interesting situation out of that, they're doing something wrong. Their relationship is a microcosm for the relations between elves and humans in the world at large. So here, in no particular order, are things I want to see in Season 4 of The Dragon Prince, Rayllum related. How about this? A scene where elves and humans try to tear Rayla and Callum apart, but they stand together. At the end of Season 3 of The Dragon Prince, elves and humans work together against a common foe. It looks like all the problems between the two groups have been solved, but of course, things aren't that simple, nor should they be. That would be shallow, simplistic writing. Prejudices that have lasted for centuries cannot be suddenly overcome by two groups of people uniting against a common enemy. Of course, there is a major difference between individuals overcoming biases, like we see in the case of Rayla, and whole societies trying to overcome bias. It's the difference between trying to move a piano and trying to dig a hole through a mountain. Both are possible, and both are difficult, but one is exponentially more time-consuming than the other. Because of this, elves and humans are going to return to hating each other now that the need to unite against a common enemy has, at least for now, passed. Dragon Prince showrunner Aaron Haas has said as much when asked about the future of the show. Because of this, there are going to be elves who attack Callum and Rayla for being in a relationship. Yes, we have seen anti-human bias against Callum in Season 3, but this is different. There are always people who are superficially fine with the other, but as soon as someone who's close to them enters into a relationship with the other, they suddenly become very defensive. Their latent bigotry rises to the surface. What form the opposition to Rayllum will take depends heavily on how the elves decide to dole out the blame. One way that this could happen is that they target Rayla, calling her a corrupt degenerate for being in a relationship with a human. It does not help that most people still think her parents were traitors. We know that's not true, and so do Callum and Rayla, but that hardly matters, because the majority of elven society does not know it's false. Look at it from their perspective. To them, Rayla is the rebellious daughter of two traitorous parents. She has now come home, and she is flaunting her betrayal of conventional elven societal norms by being with a human. Because Rayla and Callum are a microcosm of the relations between elven society and human society, they will have to facilitate the peace between humans and elves if such a peace is ever to happen and be lasting. And facilitating this peace will become a much more difficult challenge if elven society stops seeing Rayla as a real elf and starts seeing her as a corrupt traitor. However, it could be even worse if elven society blames Callum. They would cast him as this cruel predator who has taken advantage of the elven maiden. This is, of course, laughable. Callum is weak, dorky, and a total nerd. He is incredibly awkward. Meanwhile, Rayla is a warrior assassin with more than enough fighting skill to make up for Callum's complete lack of fighting skill. The idea of Callum as this cruel, savage brute abducting the poor, defenseless Rayla is ludicrous. But it is not impossible to imagine elves trying to frame their relationship in this light, especially considering they already view humans as brutes, as humans cannot use elemental magic and instead need to rely upon dark magic. This is an offensive scenario to both Callum and Rayla. Honestly, it might be more offensive to Rayla. It takes away her agency and depicts her as just a pawn who has no control over her life, no control over her ambitions and hopes and sorrows. It takes away her character arc. It takes away the process by which she abandoned her anti-human biases and learned to love Callum for who he is, and how he helped give her the confidence to explore facets of herself that she never knew existed. Obviously, they would not stand for this. They would pledge to stand with each other no matter the cost, and this would be heartening to see. The elves might offer to free Rayla from Callum, and she would obviously reject this. Some of the savvier elves might see that Rayla loves Callum, but these elves might realize how bad it looks for mainstream elven society to see an elf assassin in a relationship with a human prince, so they might offer Rayla an incentive to leave Callum. But of course, she would reject this. It would be beautiful to watch them commit to their relationship. I'm not saying they will not have problems in Season 4. No relationship escapes rough patches. No relationship can just go from good time to good time to good time. That's a fantasy, nothing more. But I believe that whatever happens to them, they will overcome it. That is how much they love each other. They will not let the prejudices of elven society stand between them. Speaking of which, I would love to see Callum meet Rayla's parents. Of course, we have not yet seen Rayla's parents in the present time. We did not see them at all before Season 3. The most common fan theory holds that they are trapped in Viren's coins. If this is true, there is a possibility we could see them next season. Viren is, to put it nicely, deteriorating. He died and had to be resurrected by Claudia. While Eryth is still rising and scheming and planning, his utility for Viren will likely substantially decrease. It's entirely possible that Viren could be defeated once and for all in Season 4. The possibility of him surviving until the end of the series is not looking good. He's already died once. If he is defeated for good, it is entirely possible that Rayla and Callum could find his coins, and that they could figure out a way to free Rayla's parents from these coins. Though I'm not sure Rayla's parents are going to be freed from the coins in Season 4, I would be surprised if the endgame is not to free them eventually. Why else would the show dedicate so much time and energy to revealing the truth about them? Why else would the show take time to even clarify what their names are? Rayla's father is Lane, and Rayla's mother is Teodrin. Rayla is going to have a lot of complicated reactions to seeing them for the first time in a long time. While she is going to definitely be happy to see them, remember that Rayla is far from an expert in working through her emotions. She may not be able to express herself as warmly as one might expect given her situation. Even more interesting are going to be their feelings about seeing her, and especially about seeing her with Callum. Now, I'm not saying they're going to despise her for being in this relationship in the way that some elves will. I think they're going to at least try to be accepting. But they are likely going to be stubborn for a number of reasons. Number one, they're Rayla's parents. Rayla herself is very stubborn. It makes sense that her parents would be as well. They might have ideas about humans that are so familiar and so ingrained in their psyches that they are not willing to easily change these ideas, even if these ideas are wrong-headed. The second reason they might be reluctant to accept Callum is their job. They risked their lives in order to protect Thunder Avazandium and Thunder's egg from humans. And because of this, they ended up in Viren's coins. Note the symbolism here. They could have chosen anything, but they chose coins. A symbol of monetary value. When Rayla is putting on her human Rayla disguise, she states that humans love talking about money and starting wars. Viren placing Rayla's parents in coins after helping Harrow kill Thunder Avazandum, which set off the Great War between humans and elves, does a great job of proving Rayla right, tying humanity's love of violence to its love of money. It would not be surprising at all if Rayla's parents do not accept Callum, at least not at first. But I believe Rayla would be persistent, allowing for another heartwarming moment between Rayla and Callum. In Season 3, we see Callum give inspiring speeches about Rayla. We see what he prizes in her. We see why he cares about her as much as he does. Here, we could see the inverse of that. We could see Rayla giving a speech to her parents about Callum. We could see her trying to convince them to trust Callum. As such, Callum would get to see firsthand why Rayla cares about him as much as she does. We'd get to be right there with Callum, learning why Rayla holds him in such high regard, and what she feels he has done for her in helping her really grow out of the shallow persona that she was contained within during the first season of the show. Hopefully, Rayla's parents accept Callum and her relationship with him. But even if they don't, that relationship would still be deepened, because Callum would get to know exactly why Rayla cares about him as much as she does. And also because she has proven that she is willing to fight for him and fight for their relationship. She's willing to fight for the chance to have a loving bond with this dorky human boy, even to her parents. Obviously, these are not the only Rayllum scenes I want to see. It would be fascinating to examine how Claudia reacts to Rayllum, considering her history with Callum, and considering how Claudia has descended into darkness. But these are the ones that would best give substance and weight to this lovely relationship going forward. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe Donate to my Patreon if you can, and you want to see more videos like this. Keep watching The Dragon Prince. It is a brilliant show. It's only getting better with time. The characters and relationships are so wonderfully nuanced. I truly love it. Tune in soon for the next analysis. It will be coming soon-ish. Thank y'all again. Adios, comrades.